Hey, good evening, everybody. I wanted to do a recap video from today's trades. I wasn't able to live stream today, unfortunately, because I was actually doing another live stream with another group. But I wanted to showcase the price action today and what the setups would have looked like. There were a lot of tricky spots. There was a lot of indecision and choppiness during market open. So let's go over some of that now and talk about how we navigated around it. So overnight, we closed right around here. We gapped up around 1931 last night. We made a brand new all-time high. And as you could see, we also tested the low here. So I mark the high up here with all-time high, and this is the overnight low. First thing I do is I notice that we're kind of in this bigger wedge. So I'll go ahead and draw that real quick. And we had a wedge like this as well. Kind of looked like that. We were starting to break out of it, but then VWAP was kind of keeping things in check. This is right at 9:30, right at market open. I'll go ahead and mark this. This was the trigger higher. Not that we would have taken it, but right at market open and VWAP's in the way. Let's go ahead and see how this trade plays out. So automatic stop loss, which we would have expected with VWAP right there being potential resistance. And now you're in this bears trade that you wouldn't have been able to take anyway. And now we really start breaking down here. Keep track of the runner. I keep track of the runner with this pink line. And then the runner would have, oops, let's go ahead and delete that. No, that's no longer valid. Um, the runner would have moved to here, and then this candle took it out to the upside. So let's draw some new trend lines. We have a break of the trend line here. This is a potential trigger to go higher, but we are below the EMA, and the measured move is probably going to be greater than the VWAP level. Oh, actually, it's not bad. I didn't take this one because we still closed below the EMA right there. This is the 21 EMA. My rule is it needs to close above it. So I didn't take this one. And it did end up working though. So not going to count this one. It didn't follow my rules. I didn't take it. Let's keep going. We'll keep track of the runner right here at break even. You're now getting a bearish signal here, rejection off VWAP. Again, I can't take it because we're still in that bullish trade with the runner still down here at break even. But this did end up working. We do have now a lower high. So you're going to go ahead and mark that as so. And then you'll draw this micro trend line here. And then again, the runner is still running. So, and it was never taken out because it was right at break even. This tagged it a little bit higher. So runner moves up to here. Runner finally gets taken out. Okay, so now we have this wedge, we have this downward trend line here, this more aggressive downward trend line and this upward trend line. So let's keep going. This is a this was the bearish trigger here, but we couldn't take it because we have a standard deviation level and an upward trend line here. But we'll go ahead and mark it. This this did end up working though. And then the runner is still running. Now we are approaching, runner was right here, and then the runner was taken out. So we're approaching 300. This was the bullish trigger higher, but we were still under this downward trend line. So I didn't take this one either. This one did work. So far, a lot of the trades we passed on did in fact work, but I try to be very, very picky with my trade selection because I'm trying to go for higher probability setups and for trades that typically won't have anything in the way. So let's keep track of this one. You could see the runner was right here. It got taken out. So let's go ahead and delete all of that, get the runner out of the way. And now you have a bearish setup here. Actually, technically triggered here first because it was a retest of that EMA and we broke down. Problem is we had 300 and this upward trend line and the standard deviation in a way. So I had to pass on this one as well. And you could see it, we actually did stop out. It didn't hit target. And then you also had this bullish trigger here, which you wouldn't have been able to take because you were still in the middle of that bearish move. So this one did work, and I believe the runner did get taken out here. We have a new upward trend line. This failure was a trigger lower, but again, closed above the EMA. You have 300 in the way and this upward trend line, so you'd have to pass on this. And now you're getting this bullish trigger, but it's a trade that stopped you out from this one, so I wouldn't be able to take this one either. It's just one of my rules. I don't like taking trades that stop you out. So you're getting another trigger here. So far, we've not taken any trades. I'm just showing you all the triggers. This one did hit target. Again, it wasn't one that followed our rules, so we couldn't have taken it. We'll keep track of the runner. And then the runner's all the way up here. The runner did move to here. And now I believe the runner is going to be taken out right there with this move. Okay. Now we're getting a signal to go up, but we have the EMA above our heads. We have downward trend line, and we have the standard deviation in the way. So we can't take this one either. And so this one stopped out. Again, all these triggers have not been actionable for us. This was the bearish trigger here. And it did end up working, but again, we couldn't have taken it ourselves. So far we're about 10 minutes in. We're trading the 1024 tick chart, by the way, in case you're wondering. So we're getting a lot of setups. And because you get a lot of setups, you can pass on a lot of the mediocre ones and only trade the ones that follow your rules. So far our runner now is here. And it keeps going lower. The runner really went down here. I think a lot of sellers were coming in. The runner is still running. Runner finally gets taken out. This is a bullish signal here, but we have overhead resistance, so we're not going to be taking this one either. You can see the stopped out right there. And then we also got a bearish signal that worked here, but we wouldn't have been able to take that one. Bearish signal here. A new bearish signal, I should say, that stopped out. And this is a trade that stopped out this one. So I cannot take this one, even though it looks really pretty. So you could see this was another stop loss because the reason why we didn't take that one, because this was the trade that stopped out this one. And now you're starting to see my rules and why I have them. It's really to prevent a lot of choppiness, especially on a choppy morning like today. These rules would have helped you save a lot of money. This bearish signal did end up working, but you couldn't have taken it because you were in the middle of those bullish trades. You can see a lot of this back and forth. Keep track of the runner. Runner gets stopped out right there. This was a trigger higher, but we have overhead resistance, so you couldn't take this. And this is the candle that stopped out this one, so you can't take this one lower, and you have 250 as the level. It never triggered though. And now we have two trend lines. And now again, you're getting this bullish signal here, but you have this overhead resistance. It never triggered. This one triggered, but it closed below the standard deviation. If it closed above the standard deviation here, off of VWAP, this is the second standard deviation off of VWAP. VWAP's up here. I would have taken this to the upside, but it did not. It did end up working though. And this one was close, but I didn't take it, so we're not going to count it. Our runner would have still been running. And golden ruler moves all the way down here. Runner is still running. Runner finally gets taken out right there. We are at 300. This would be a bear signal if it triggered lower, but we have standard deviation as possible support. It didn't trigger lower. This triggered lower, but again, wouldn't been able to take it because of the support level here. Now this is a bullish trigger, but it's we're still technically in this bearish trade. You can't take this one higher. It did end up working, but again, could not have taken it because of my rules. And now you're kind of in no man's land. You do finally get this trigger to go higher, but we have this bigger trend line that I've drawn from earlier that could be coming into play here as potential resistance, so you got to pass on this one. It did end up working, but Again, my rules are very strict for a reason, and they help me to stay disciplined and only look for really good, clear setups where if we're getting a trigger, it does not have something in its way. Now the runner is running. Runner finally gets taken out. We can delete that macro trend line. And now we have a bearish signal right here, but we have the standard deviation in the way, so we cannot take it to the downside if it triggers. So it does trigger, we'll keep track of it, but this is not a trade that I took either. So it does end up working though. Let's see. Runner is right here. Let's start drawing our downward trend line. And the runner finally gets taken out. We're going to have two trend lines here. We're going to have this one, and we're going to have that one. And now we just wait for another setup. Let's get the runner out of the way. This is a bullish signal, but we have the EMA in the way. And this is the candle that took out this candle, so I cannot take it to the downside. Even though it worked. And now we delete some lines here. We have a runner. The golden ruler moves down. We have this downward trend line, and we have this downward trend line. So this is technically a trigger to go higher, but the runner hasn't been taken out yet. So I cannot get into this bullish trade just yet. It did end up working. The runner has been taken out on both sides. Now we're getting this look. I can delete this line. And we're going to be drawing a new trend line like this. We are in no man's land. This triggered lower, but we have the standard deviation level below us, so cannot take it. There's that stop loss. Golden ruler does move down. We can delete this line. Delete that. This was a bullish trigger to the upside, but we have EMA and the golden ruler in the way, so you couldn't have taken this one. And now we're getting another bearish signal, but I had that standard deviation level in the way. If that wasn't there, we would have taken it. That would have been a nice trade. So the runner at this point is at break even. Runner gets taken out right there. This is our upward trend line now. This is technically the trigger to go higher, but we did close below the standard deviation. I wanted this to be above, and I wanted it to be a better, more bullish looking candle. I think this does end up working, but it didn't fulfill my criteria. Let me update that. Okay, the runner is running now. The golden ruler is right at the 50 level. Runner is still running. This is a bearish signal to go down if it triggers, but we have this upward trend line, we have this EMA, and the runner still hasn't been taken out yet. So you could see stop loss right there, and the runner is still running. Runner gets taken out right here. Golden ruler moves to here. You can draw this new trend line like this. We can't anymore. This will be a bullish trigger to go higher, but 300 is in the way, so I cannot take it. It didn't trigger higher. And this, if this triggers lower, it is a bearish signal, but you have the EMA and golden ruler in the way. So I cannot take this one either. Again, the price action was just not that great this morning. A lot of marginal setups. Then we'll keep track of the runner here. Runner gets taken out. Delete this line, it's no longer valid. Now this would be a legit bearish signal if we get it, because the runner's already been taken out. We have this bearish signal, and there's nothing in the way. Does it trigger? It did not. If it did, we would have taken it, and this would have counted as our trade. Instead, this becomes, actually, I don't even know if this would be a legitimate trade, because you technically would have had to draw this trend line here, and this closed above it. So I don't know if I can even count this as a trade, even though it worked. So I'm going to have to pass on this. It doesn't follow my rules. If we didn't have this trend line there, we could have taken this bearish trade right there for about 5.5 points. Runner gets taken out. We can draw this trend line here. Now this would be a bearish signal if it triggers. It did not trigger. Now we have this huge bullish signal, which looks very inviting, but look at the context. Look at where we are. We weren't able to close above this swing high here. We have this downward trend line, and we have that standard deviation in a way. So if it triggers higher, we get a pass. It did not trigger higher. So now we have this double top line. So none of these constitute a trigger. This candle, though, would be a trigger higher if we get it. It never triggered. So this is the type of morning that we were experiencing. We were looking for, we finally would get potentially good setups, but they just never triggered in that direction. And so you just have to pass. This is a bearish signal, but EMA is in the way, so you can't take it. You could see it almost stopped out. It finally did right there. This was the bullish signal here, but you were in the middle of that bearish trade. So you can't take this one either. Again, look at that stop out. So this level of chop was super frustrating. You can see we couldn't take really any trade this morning. And this one ended up working, but you couldn't have taken it. So now we are getting a bullish signal here, but we have that standard deviation level in the way. So we can't take this one either. And look at that. Trigger, instant stop loss. And then this was the bearish trigger, but you guys know my rule. I don't take trades that stop you out, and you don't have any room before you hit potential support down here. So it did end up working, but again, very choppy. Would not have taken this move. Let's keep track of the runner now. This is a bullish signal, but we have resistance overhead, so we have to pass on this one. And then this huge bearish candle looks enticing, but again, look at the context. It took out the original bullish trade, and there's no room for this huge candle. I say huge, it's only 15 points, but in comparison to all the other candles, it is pretty big. So this is a pretty big exhaustive candle right here. I would pass on this one as well. And you could see it did not work. So now we have two trend lines. They're basically almost the same, so I don't have to draw that. You have this bullish trigger down here, but you can't take it for multiple reasons. And then this one gets stopped out. So like this is just the way the price action was this morning. It was very unclean. And sometimes you have days like this where you just have to keep passing, keep passing, keep passing. Just readjusting where our new lines would have been. And the runner might have been taken out here. I'm not sure. It might have gone down, then up. And now this becomes our bullish signal. So this would be an actionable trade. And it did work. Although this is almost borderline because of this trend line here. There's so many borderline setups. I don't think I can count this one either. But let's keep going. So here's the bearish signal here, but we're still in the middle of this bullish trade because, actually no, Yeah, we were still in the middle of this bullish trade when this bearish signal triggered because this is where the runner was. And so this bearish trade signaled. Now this bullish trade signaled. And so because of that, if this bearish trade didn't signal and we would have just gotten this bullish trade, we would have taken this one. And let's keep track of the runner on this one. We're now running into this high over here. We're getting rejection off of the VWAP standard deviation level. This is a bearish signal, but the runner has not been taken out yet, so I have to pass on this, and the EMA is in the way potentially. You can see stop loss. Runner is still running. Golden ruler moves down. Golden ruler finally gets taken out. Or not golden ruler, I'm sorry. The runner. This triggers bearish, but can't take it. Got the EMA in the way. Does end up working though. Let's go ahead and track it. And let's draw a new trend line, shall we? I'm not sure if the runner got taken out here or not. I'm going to assume not. This was the bullish trigger down here, but we still had that bearish trade in play and we have all this overhead resistance. So we still have to skip this bullish setup. You can see stop loss right there. This is just the type of morning that we had. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Um, Draw this new trend line like this. Runners at break even on this bearish trigger that we couldn't take. Runner is still running. Right. We go ahead and move golden ruler to here. Delete all these lines that do not matter anymore. Runner gets taken out right there. This is marginal. This is sort of, I guess it is a close below standard deviation. This would be a trigger lower. This is our first actionable trade, actually. This went for 9 points, 9.75 points. Let's just say we got about eight points out of this by the time you enter here. And I take profits slightly above where the green line is. So our first profitable setup that we could take was at 1031. And it was for 8 points. And 8 points is nothing to laugh about. I mean, 8 points times one mini contract is $160. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? In the first 1 hour of trading, you made 160 bucks. What what day job do you know where you're making that kind of money? Runner gets taken out. We draw this upward trend line. This is our next bearish signal here. I think this was a stop loss. Yep. Or no, hold on. 35, 35.50. I put my stop loss usually a point and a quarter above. This is a definite stop loss now. Let's go ahead and mark that. This was an actionable trade. That didn't work. So we would have lost, this is 6.25 plus 1.25. So that's 750. We'll round it up to 8 points. So we basically gave up the profit we made in the prior trade. And now we have this bullish trigger, but we have that EMA in the way. It did end up working. Keep track of a runner. Runner is right here. This is a bearish signal, but we're above the EMA and above the standard deviation. So it does end up working. A runner is right there, gets stopped out. Again, no action on any of these trades. This would be an actionable trade to the upside. But I would have to skip it because of this overall trend line that we still draw that was never broken. So I actually have to skip this trade. And there it is. There's a stop loss right there. We also have to skip this bearish signal because it's a trade. We were still in the middle of that bullish trade. It did end up working. So far we're 1 for 1 and we're at break even, which is not bad considering how much chop we were experiencing. Runner's been taken out. This is a potential bullish signal, but we have overhead resistance. So we have to skip this one. Does end up working. Runner gets taken out. This is a bearish signal here. And we take it and it works. So this is about 10.75 points. We'll just round it down to 10 points. Let's just say we hit 10 points on this one. So 1041 was 10 points. We made a new low. Golden ruler moves down. And we update our trend line accordingly. Our runner is all the way down here. We have a double top now. And our runner was taken out. So we're going to wait till I can draw this upward trend line. This would be a signal to go higher, but we have overhead resistance here. So we'll draw it out, but we can't take it. And there you can see immediate stop loss. Ran into that EMA and we failed. We can't take this candle because this candle stopped out this bullish trade, and we also have 200 as a potential area of support below us. But we will mark it. We will draw a new trend line. And it keeps going until we hit it. All right. So we hit the target on that one, but it was not an actionable trade for us. This is a bullish trigger, but we closed below 200, so I can't take it. Also, the runner hadn't been taken out yet, so we have to pass on this one. It did end up working though. Let's keep track of where the runner is now. The runner is here. We're breaking up to the upside. Gold ruler moves down. We potentially could have gotten the break higher and then lower, taking out the runner. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. All right, so this is the trigger to go higher, but we have this downward trend line here. Did end up working. Okay, we still have that runner that's running. Runner gets taken out. If we break this upward trend line, this will be a trigger higher. Let's see if the measured move gives us enough space to take it, and the answer is yes. So we will be taking this one if it triggers. It did, and it did hit target. So this is going to be our next trade here at 10:51. And this trade was about 8.25 points. We'll say we captured 7 points on that one. We'll keep track of the runner. The runner is at break even. Went a little too far. Runner is still running. I'm not sure if it went up and then it went down. I can't tell. Regardless, at this point, the runner has definitely been taken out. So we have this wedge now. We have a potential signal to go higher, but we have this old bearish. Probably can delete this, to be honest, because we broke through it here. So this is a bullish signal to go higher at 11 o'clock. So we can take this one. I would have taken profits right there. Remember, I take profits a point before the green line. So we would have taken profits instead of at 675, it would have been at 66.75. So we would have made money on this. So 66.75 and getting in, let's just say at 58.75, that's 8 points. This is an 8 point trade at 11 o'clock. Our golden ruler now moves up. We're still technically in this bullish trade, even though I would have taken profits. So we'll let it play out one way or the other. This bearish signal here did work. And now the trade is completely over. We'll keep track of the runner. of the bearish trade that triggered right here. Remove the golden ruler and delete this line. This line held, so let's update this trend line real quick. Goal, the runner's been taken out. This is our bullish signal, but we do have a downward trend line. So if it triggers higher, we cannot take it. You see stop loss right there. This is a bearish signal here, which we still can't take. And there it is. There's the stop on the bearish. And this is what I mean about having these rules so it prevents the chop. So we have two trend lines now. This we got to pass on because of this trend line and because it was the candle that stopped out this bearish candle. Does end up working though. And then there's that runner would have gotten stopped out right there. This would have been the bearish signal. We still had that runner in play, so we couldn't take it. We have the EMA in play and we have 250 in play. But it did touch it by a tick. Again, if you were taking trades like this, you need to be taking your profits a point higher than where the green line is, where the measured move is. This would have been your next bullish signal. Your bearish trade stopped out. You can't take the bullish trade anyway, but it did end up working. Now we're starting to break up to the upside. The runner gets taken out. This will be a bearish signal here, but we have the EMA below us, so we can't take it. We'll measure it anyway. It does hit target. I think the runner got taken out here, potentially. Not sure. Now, if this trigger is higher, this will be a signal, but technically speaking, we're still below this trend line. And now we get a bearish signal instead. Problem is we have all this potential support below us. And the seller said, we don't care. We're going to go right through it anyway. And the runner is still here. Let's delete all the lines. And then the runner just got taken out right there. This is our bearish signal to go lower. There is nothing that's keeping us from going lower. Let me just double check. I don't think we have any other major trend lines or anything like that. Even if you were to draw, Yeah, like this is a nice bearish signal here. So you would take this one, bearish, and it did end up working. This was an 11.25 point trade. We'll just say we captured 10 points of that at 11.23. And now you're starting to see when we wait on these really good setups where there's no obstacles in the way, they usually just work and they work very quickly. I mean, this trade here worked within a minute, under a minute actually. It just dropped. We're going to go ahead and make this a macro trend line. We'll keep track of a runner. We'll delete this line. We'll draw a new micro trend line, which is going to be like this. And I believe the runner is still running. Can't tell. All right, the runner is now taken out. And now we have this line and this line. And we also have this line. So we have a very tight wedge situation here. And there's the break. We would take this to the downside. There it is. It worked. So this was about 11.25 point trade. We'll say we captured 10 points on this one as well. 11.27, we captured 10 points. Keep track of the runner. Let's delete some lines that are no longer valid. Our golden ruler moves down to here. And we have this downward trend line. Runner is still running. Runner gets taken out right there. We're back at 200. So if we trigger higher here, this would be a bullish signal. And it did. So this we would take this bullish. And it worked. This was about 5.5 points. We'll say we captured about 5 points on that one. Or maybe we could say four if you want to be really conservative. 11.35. Captured 4 points. The runner was taken out right here. It went up, hit target, came down, hit the runner at break even. Let's move the runner out of the way. We have a potentially bullish signal here, but we have the EMA in the way. So I cannot take that bullish. Does it end up working? Does. Ends up working. Goes up and comes back down. So the runner was taken out right there. We readjust our downward trend line. This would be another signal to go higher. Problem is we have the golden ruler in the way. We have standard deviation in the way. So I got to skip this trade. Does stop out. And notice this signal here stopped out this trade, so I can't take it, even though it looks so pretty to the downside. We'll go ahead and measure it, but we're going to skip it. Does end up working though. our golden ruler was here. This candle moved below the golden ruler, so our golden ruler is up here now. Okay, so runner's been taken out. We're back at break even here. We have this really small wedge now, and this is a trigger higher. We close below the standard EV or the EMA. Go ahead and delete this line. Does end up working, but we wouldn't have been able to take this trade. Runner right now is at break even, which we just touched. We didn't touch, sorry. We retested but didn't touch. So the runner is still running. We move golden ruler to here. And now we draw a few other trend lines. We draw a bigger macro trend line here. Runner is still running. We're now hitting the 250 level, which means this is a bearish signal, but the runner is still running, so we have to pass on that bearish signal. Runner finally got taken out here, so this is actually a bullish signal to go higher. This hammer. So this is a trade, viable trade. So this worked. This was about 9 points. Let's just say we captured 8 points out of this one. And the runner has been taken out. You now have another bullish signal here. You would take it. I don't think there's anything in the way. And I think this is a stop loss. So let's look at the stop loss here. Stop loss here is 8.25. So we'll say 950. We'll say minus 10 points on this one. And at this point, it's past noon. I usually trade right up till noon anyway. So let's actually look at how many trades we took and how many points we captured and what was our win rate. Okay. So we took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We took 10 trades that followed all of our rules. 1, 2 losers. So 8 out of 10 were winners. So 80% win rate. And let's see how many points we captured in this 2.5 hour trading period. We captured, doing the math real quick here. We captured 47 points. So 47 points. We took 10 trades. Let's just say the commission is $4 per trade. So that's $40 in commissions, and 47 points times $20 a contract is $940. So $940 minus $40 equals $900 of profit in 2.5 hours. I'd say that's pretty phenomenal. If you divide this by 2.5, your hourly rate was $376. I mean, what job do you know in the world where you can make this kind of money? And again, you saw how many trades we passed. We had to wait for the really good setups. And as you can see, 80% win rate because of it. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys saw how we navigated around really tricky waters with the chop earlier this morning. I hope this makes a tremendous amount of success. I hope this makes a tremendous amount of sense. And I wish you guys all the success. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. I'm looking forward to hopefully engaging with you in the near future. Have a good one.